said, I don't like to argue with somebody over the phone. I said, I'm just going to walk up there to your house. Right, today's July 10th. I videoed a little bit when I came and got Jet. This morning I came up and I brought all the dogs, came up and took off just for a hike and to get them exercise, you know, and I drove up past the pins to what we call Gorilla Rock and started just walking up, you know, these ravines. You go uphill. So I went uphill for probably about 1.5 miles, and then I started cutting across these canyons, and they're real deep ravines. I mean, you know, I don't know how deep, but they're deep. Well, the dogs went to the other side and they started milling around, wagging their tails, and pretty soon they were gone. They were trailed one way and then they come back the other way, and wham. They started, I mean, I had every dog except Sissy and Al and Lori. Lori went and she came back. But P went, Booger went, Jazz went. I mean, dogs that typically I think are pretty well broke. But then after they got up out of the canyon, they took off. They were going way too fast. I think, I don't know. But P went all the way to the river. I mean, and I ended up walking, like, it was probably 7 miles to the river. And then I called Danny, guy who works with me, and asked him to hook up my horse trailer. I was on foot, but I needed the horse trailer so he could haul, you know, I had 11 dogs. Jazz is still missing. I went down and I walked probably another 1.5 miles. It was on flat ground though, so it was not too bad. And Danny came and picked me up, loaded up all the dogs in the trailer. We drove around, got my truck. I took the dogs back, hooked it back to the house, put those dogs up, hooked up. Danny unhooked to the trailer. I hooked up to the trailer, ran in and got me something to eat. I hadn't ate all day. And this was probably about 11:30 or 12. I started at I was walking by 6 something this morning. So I hooked it on over to my dad's, loaded up the world famous burro, mule, Jet Johnson. And his feet he's barefooted and they broke off a little bit being in that irrigated pasture. But anyway, he's the easiest one to catch out of the bunch. So I loaded him up, ran back up here where I parked. We had left a towel down in case she came back, she would lay up right there. Got back, no dog, so I saddled up Jet and I took off. I haven't been videoing much lately. Just been, I don't know. It's been hot. I always just get about halfway depressed this time of year. You know, you go out in the morning, you try to get the first, you know, hour or two of coolness, and that's still, you know, 62 to 70 degrees. And then it gets hot, miserable. You don't really want to ride the mule, don't want to get too far out, so I just walk, try to get some exercise. And I've been doing it, you know, probably 2 or 3 times a week, getting the dogs out. But this morning it was humid, like we had like 70-something% humidity. And now I'm here, going to pick up Jazz, trying to find her, see where she's at. And it's hot. Jasmine! So, here we go. I'm just now, it's 4 o'clock or 4:15. I just now got back to the truck. So I rode Jet back around, made a big circle, rode all those ravines, the tops of them, everything I could think of, you know, and unless I don't, who knows? I didn't put a collar on her. And that's, you know, that's my fault. That's stupid. I gotta split those dogs up. I only have 7 collars. And I got some beep beep collars, and I put a beep beep collar on P. And I was putting a beep beep collar on Jazz, but the batteries went dead in it. And I just found out yesterday that the batteries were dead, and I should have went ahead and put new batteries in it, but I was just being stupid, I guess. But anyway, so she's still out somewhere. She's one of my best trail hounds, you know. She's a real well-bred dog. Anyway, but so she's got a collar. It's got my name and phone number on it, and I put some more. I put my bandana that I wore. I wear a bandana over my neck so I don't get too sunburned over my ears. And I put that up there with some rocks, and we put some snacks there, something Danny had in his truck that she can eat. There's plenty of water around because it's been raining. It rained hard last night. Rained the night before, and it's going to rain here in a little while again. So I'll drive back over here to where Danny picked me up. She might have just trailed us out. If she did, maybe she's laid up down there somewhere waiting for me. But yeah, that's the way it goes. I hate to leave a dog out overnight. Up at camp, it didn't bother me as bad because, you know, it was all wilderness and it was remote, no highways, no people to speak of. I mean, there's a rancher and everything, but he had hound dogs too, so I didn't worry about him. Worst thing is if they got, you know, stuck on a ledge or fell in a hole or something. But even with a tracking collar, if they fell in a cave or a mine hole or a mine cave, whatever you call it, mine shaft, they would, you wouldn't get any signal on them. Anyway, you always worry about them, but that's the chances you take. They wouldn't, you know, wouldn't have it any other day, you know. Just like a skydiver is going to jump out of airplanes, and mountain climbers are going to climb mountains, and cliff divers are going to dive cliffs. I mean, it's what they're supposed to do, you know, and there's dangers involved in it. And, you know, I'm sure these old hunting dogs, if they could talk and you could ask them, would you rather go hunting or lay up on the couch all day? And, man, they'd be out in the truck ready to go. I got Jet. Me and Jet probably rode, we probably rode 10 miles, so it was an 18-mile day or more than that, really, probably 19-mile day with half of it, almost half of it being on foot. Anyway, all right. That's the day. That's today, July 10th, 2018. I got her back. You know, they have a locked area. It's just on the west side of the river. There's just like 3 or 4 houses up there, and that's where I came out of the other day when I was when I walked out with the hounds. You know, and I just decided to go down through there because it was shorter and I could call Danny, the guy who works with me, come pick me up, you know. So that's what I'd done. So I thought, well, that's the only place. I'd covered all this country looking for her, because I thought I'd heard her barking and trailing up that one canyon. I don't know, that might not have been her, but anyway, so I decided to go through there, and they got this number that says call for emergency. That's where you call that number, supposedly somebody let you in the gate. And I called and told him, I said, yeah, yes sir, I said I came through there the other day. I said, I'm missing a dog. I said, I got a dog missing. I'm wondering if you would mind if I just drove my buggy down this road. You know, it's a regular road. There's 3 or 4 houses down in there, and just holler and, you know, and call my dog. See if he said, well, the neighbor here, Mr. Brown or Miss Brown, has your dog, and you know, you were trespassing this. And I said, well, you know, I couldn't help it. I said I was, you know, 8 miles from my truck, and I didn't want to walk all that way back, so I just came down where my dogs were anyway, and came down and walked out this road. And oh, you know, this is trespassing. You're not allowed. You were in here hunting. I said, no, I wasn't hunting. I said I was just going to my dogs. You know, I said I think that, pretty sure New Mexico has a dog retrieval law. You know, where you can go in and retrieve your dogs. And I'm not sure about that. I need to check on it. But anyway, I was real polite for a while, and then my red hair took over. And I got mad, and I told him, I said, well, you know what? I said, this is a bunch of, BS. I said, I don't like to argue with somebody over the phone. I said, I'm just going to walk up there to your house. So I parked the buggy and I took off and I walked up there, and me and him, finally, I banged on the door for a long time. Finally, he came out, and, you know, just one of those guys. I was kind of hoping it'd be, you know, some city type guy who just moved out there, but it wasn't. He runs a few cows in there and everything else. And I don't know what his problem was. I told him, I said, you know, I'm real ashamed, real embarrassed that it hurts my feelings to think that, you know, a guy that was raised here in this kind of country where it's so open and so much that you would resent somebody. I wasn't even walking on his property. I walked between their properties and down on the road, you know, and that you would be this way about me coming in here. And I said, why didn't they call me? My dog has a collar with a nameplate on it. Oh, I don't know what they're. And I said, well, do you have their phone number? No. So I said, I need to get my buddy. I said, let me have the key so I can get in. We argued there for a little while. Finally gave me the key, and I went and unlocked the gate, and I got my buggy, and I went in there, and sure enough, there was Jack. She was tied up right over there. I was tied up on a chain underneath the truck, you know, and I grabbed her and took her. The nameplate was gone off of her collar. I don't know if somebody pulled it off. No, the collars were pretty old. So I went ahead and I ordered a bunch of new collars from W Supply. And so I don't know. So I got her. No one was home. I loaded her up in the buggy and came out and left the key underneath the rock for him when he came out. And I had a little old girl. I guess she got nervous because we had some words, and she called me Mr. Brown. And she made me a little piece of paper. It says Mr. Brown. It doesn't say nothing else on it. I don't know. She just gave me a piece of paper. Mr. Brown, with a little scribble mark on it. And that's it. I don't know why she did that. Anyway, I mean, I might have said damn once or twice, but I don't cuss. I don't raise hell, you know. I let him know what I thought about it, you know, and I wasn't trying to hunt on their private property. I was just passing through. But anyway, I got her. She's a little footsore. I think what these dogs are doing, I think that those people's, that's why it's the second time. If you watch my other video I made that says you got to, the bad with the good, you know, and so I explained what happened. All my dogs took off and went down there and ended up in somebody's yard. Well, they had a bunch of dogs there too. And then this time my dogs ended up down there by those houses, and that's where Jazz was. Well, they got 4 or 5 dogs that stay loose down there. So I think those dogs are packing up and getting up in these hills, you know, not that far, 3 or 4 miles. And the rancher had said that he thought he had some calves that were killed by dogs. So I don't know. I think my dogs, you know, trailed around the hill there, seen them, and then they took off running and they just chased them. I didn't know you had to break your dogs off domestic dogs, but maybe that's something you got to do. Anyway, that's it. So I decided to drive up here and look for some lion tracks. It's nice, kind of overcast, a little rainy. Anyway, have a good day. Like, subscribe, comment. What else? Share. All that stuff. And then there'll be links to some other videos right up here, right here. The subscribe button will be right here. Then there'll be links to some other videos right here and right here.